Hey, Creatricity family. Oh my gosh, welcome back to the show where we unleash the power of creativity and innovation. We are fans of creative people. I am Cassandra Freeman, co founder of Creatricity, your guide to all things fun, imaginative, and especially inspiring. Whether you're an artist, an inventor, or just someone with a wild imagination, this is your playground for unleashing your inner creative genius. So, who we talk to here are people who are creatives, industry trailblazers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs from around the world. And we're going to explore what are the trends? How do we live in this new paradigm shift in Hollywood that is happening? The great constriction, some people are calling it. The great contraction is constriction too, though. Amen. So here we're hoping that you find some comfort, hopefully find your way, and maybe even find your new creative partner. Speaking of that, we have two creative partners who are amazing at what they do. They have a company called Up 40 Love. I love that name, first of all, Up 40 Love. It's just expansive. And what they do, they're like a production company that's highly detailed oriented. They're great at creating partnerships. They're people who have worked with people like Yara Shahidi, Emily Blunt, Ima, Amanda Seyfried, so many people. If you go to their website, up40love.com, you're going to be like, huh? These people have done all of that. And oh my God, they just did a short film recently, which we get into in the podcast, that every artist should be so lucky to see because it just resonates about on what it means to be a creative, how lonely and isolating this journey can be as a creative person. But it's a calling and it is a vocation. And all you need is one person sometimes to bring you back from the brink of either leaving this career or just from the brink of destruction. I believe creative people are some of our most important assets. And we live in a world where we take the rose and we put the rosebud into the dirt and we let the thorns grow. Where in Creatricity, we believe in the opposite. Let the flower bloom and put them in a room full of other people who will help uplift them, connect them, and open up the doors to their wildest dreams. Creatricity, we're just interested in everyone winning. So we put together parties for the last 4 years that do just that. We put you in the room with some of the best minds in the entertainment ecosystem, whether that means they're publicists, entertainment lawyers, studio heads, production heads, actors, writers, directors, whoever you're looking for, they're probably at one of these events, and we hope to see you there. But first, let's see this new episode, Up 40 Love.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, me and Ron, we are creatives. We're fans of Stephanie and Cass for years and years now. We started out as actors, and we still are actors, but we started out as actors about 7, 8 years ago, and then we kind of bumped into each other in an acting class, and we started to go on this journey of being actors and helping each other out with auditions and stuff like that. And we found that the types of roles, while it has changed some now, not as much as we'd like it to, but back then specifically, there was the roles were very one-dimensional in terms of what me and Ron were going out for. It was like I was a terrorist, Ron was a criminal. Sometimes same audition, same room, terrorist, criminal. So we were like, this is definitely not reflective of what we've experienced as first generation South Asian American and first generation Haitian American for Ron. So we said, you know what, let's start telling our own stories. And we're like, yeah, let's just do that. It'll be so easy, And then here we are, like 7 years later, after going through the trenches of independent storytelling and filmmaking, and sort of being tapped by brands to create commercial content for them, at a point where we now have a commercial production company where we work with all types of A-list talent and brands to bring their projects to life. And then we have a narrative arm, which is really just me and Ron's passion. That's our film and in the indie TV division that we develop our projects with. And so, yeah, I'll let Ron kind of jump in from there, but that's kind of like a quick background of who we are.
I'll take it actually back even further.
Exactly
Vinny
why
comes
so many.
from. I'm sorry. Did you have something to say, Cass?
I popped back in because I was talking to myself because I was saying, I was like, so many people create out of necessity because they've been kicked out of the rooms that they actually want to be in. So then they go create their own rooms. And I feel like that's the heart of a lot of members at Creatricity where they're like, okay, I'm not going to stand in line when I know I can build the damn thing myself and probably even better. So what you're saying about what happened to you too out in the field, it's very similar for me too. Go ahead, Ron. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, I was just going to bring it back even further just to show sort of our passion and our desire and necessity to create. Vinny was in economics and real estate before he got into acting. I was in engineering. We both had very successful, respected careers before we sort of delved into the creative world and sort of threw all that away and just sort of jumped in head first. And I found that a lot of people who have switched careers to pursue sort of the creative world, I think is actually a blessing. You sort of bring in tools that I don't want to say normal people, but other people don't necessarily bring to the table. So I think that has really helped us sort of navigate the industry and all creative spaces.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
7 years, I had no idea. So listen, there are a lot of questions that we want to ask everybody, but hearing that you've been together for 7 years and that someone wants to mow their lawn, I don't know if y'all can hear this.
Barely.
A little bit. It's okay.
That's how it goes, though.
Day in Los Angeles.
It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't have a little bit of.
Every day a weed blower. I just made me understand.
But Cassie, this is why you got to be in the booth. That's why you got to be in the soundproof booth. You know, I told you. I was ready. You got to be ready for the moment. I was ready.
You're so right. The next one will be at Ron's house. Thank you. In his booth. You know, I do have a sound room, but I have someone renting it out right now. Oh. Okay. He's an Emmy Award winning sound designer, and he down there using it. And I said maybe I could use my room. And he was like, well, you can sit next to me. And I said, that's not gonna work for me. And then he said, why don't you go sit in the sauna? So this where
I was gonna say, I'm like, are you in a sauna right now? But I was like, she can't be in a sauna. But that's amazing.
I just started sweating.
But listen, Cassie, as an efficiency junkie, you're right now in a sauna, catching up with friends while doing a podcast. Come on, I mean that's kind of amazing.
That is having coffee and she's drinking coffee,
and it's staying warm.
That's a very New York kind of way. I like how you brought New York to LA. You know, I appreciate that.
Right.
You know, the New York, to be in LA with a New Yorker's mind, you're much better, easier to win because the luxury here just makes life like less stressful. And so you have more energy to keep running.
But you have to sit in your car for 45 minutes both ways.
And you got time to think about things, which is why I wanted to ask you, like, y'all do so many various different types of projects. Do y'all have a ritual that y'all start before you begin? Or like, what is your way of when you're trying to figure out the ideation of a project? You can use something in real life or just in general.
Yeah.
Actually, we go to the sauna. I mean, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay, now we gotta have that story. We gotta have that story.
I mean, it's you know what's crazy? It's interesting because you know they talk about when you have someone you work with for so long, you develop a shorthand in a way,
right?
And you know, me and Ron now have gotten to a point where like we can actually communicate through like nonverbal, like very like slight gestures. And so like I'll know how he feels about an idea just based off of like him like just giving like reading it and then like looking at me. And so what we do is like I kind of like
you have shorthand.
Yeah, and I'll kind of go out there with the ideas and I'll like kind of go out in space and we'll talk about the idea and I'll just go and like I'll like take like a spaceship to the moon and then grab a bunch of moon rocks and then I'll come back and I'll just like vomit them at Ron. And then he's like very still and he'll like find a way to sift through and make it look like something. You know what I mean?
It sounds like Ron and me are the same person, and you and Cassie are the same person.
Which is shocking though, because
Yes.
I usually come and throw up on Ron or Vinny, and Vinny is the one who gets all stoic. Vinny becomes like, what you must
You go
do is
straight into, but you go like I don't know if it's a Zen master way. Do you like go into like where did the downloads come from? That's where
yeah.
I would like to know.
Man, I got too many of them. I mean, I think that's part of the thing about Ron's curse is that he's my partner because I have so many ideas all the time. And it's like Cassie, right? I know Cassie's the same way. There's so many ideas running through you, and there's so many things that you want to do, and there's so many things that you can do, and there's so many things that you want to put your time and energy into, but you learn, but you need a step, and you need Ron to be like, okay, wait, hold your feet to the fire, and
I'm like, come on, let's go.
What is the plan? How are we going to execute? How much is this going to cost? Like all of that. Yeah.
He'd be wanting to jump out the plane with no parachute. I'm like, bro, take it easy.
Yo,
I won't stick the landing, but take it easy.
Run off the cliff.
You need both people, okay? Because I find there's some people where, what's that quote about the perfection? I can't remember things good, but basically perfection can stop any type of execution from actually ever happening. And then you have the other person where they just want to execute, but nothing perfect or precise will come out of it. So you sort of need the tension of both these things of saying, please, let's go, but please, let's be smart all at the same time. So strategy, creativity without a strategy can be really sloppy. And then sometimes, for me, I find like so much of my life is like, let's just go do the thing. And it's there. And I sometimes feel like, especially with women, that we get so like, it's got to be so perfect. And then, 10 years will go by and you still haven't launched the thing. And what I would rather do is do the thing and just constantly reiterate on what it can be. And so then people start to understand what you're up to. Hopefully your tribe of people will show up. And also, like, what you think it is the first year will change no matter what. Like, and that's true for every company in existence right now. I mean, the cars that they're making now aren't the same cars they made 50 years ago. So if they were trying to perfect the car, you'd be left behind. And the last thing is, there's always this, I can't remember what book I read this in about Michael Jackson and how he'd wake up in the middle of the night with like great ideas and he'd call up his lawyer and he said, listen, we got to do this idea right now or Prince will do it, because he understood that the muses are sending information and it's urgent. And if you don't do it, somebody else somewhere else on the globe will do it, which I've tried. I wanted that to be that for Creatricity for like 12 years. I kept being like, someone else is going to pick up this idea. And people have in bits and pieces, but throughout that 12-year journey of me like not doing anything, no one did it exactly like the way I saw it, to where I was like, oh, I guess I gotta go do the thing,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true for you too as well. What were you gonna say, Stephanie?
I was just gonna say, sorry. I was just gonna say that one of my mentors also shared something with me about a shitty first draft. And literally like just throw it out there. It's not going to be perfect, but you're on the move. You're moving. You're not stale. You're not, doing analysis paralysis over this one thing. You are getting out there and you're executing. So
I think a tough part though with this industry and just in any creative space at large is there are so many gatekeepers, right? And we've heard that, you better be ready for your shot, so it's tough to sort of grapple with doing the thing, executing the thing and making it perfect with the idea that like, hey, if I give this to somebody and it ain't the thing, then they're never going to want to touch anything that I create ever again. Right. So like, obviously we know that's not true, but there is some truth to it. So it's just about sort of finding the balance between, Vinny and I hit ideas back and forth, but we got to hit them back and forth a couple times. We're not just going to come out straight with the serve and be like, all right, this is the thing, right? So I think there has to be some of that before you can just step out into the world and sort of showcase yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the
No,
cynic in
it's
me. And I
true.
don't like to be cynic, but you know,
Yeah.
it
Well,
No,
look,
I
we
takes a
need
think
some.
little bit.
we hear the
Well,
perspective. We hear that.
I think also, and I'd like to hear you talk about this, but I think when you're in any industry, they're just different levels to what it is you're
Hmm.
doing. So
Hmm.
depending on what level, what collaborators come to that level, you have to package things. And gatekeepers, I'm gonna come up with a new word for gatekeepers because there's so many gatekeepers all over the place. But the problem with gatekeepers, they come up with so many chefs and they don't actually have any great idea themselves. So you really, gatekeepers are like, to me, like I see this image, what cartoon character is that? It's like there's a cartoon character who looks so emaciated because he's just so nervous and frightened. And those are who the gatekeepers are. I think we've made them into like the Wizard of Oz, like they sit on top of this huge gate and they say, enter. But the whole point of like all of these like hero journey stories is to find out that person doesn't really exist. He is scared. He's about to lose everything and he is desperate to find someone who is also really confident. So you can have the idea, but then you have to have like a backup person. And I find they say, one person isn't enough. Three people might be too many. Two might just be just right. And when you're trying to put something together, and there's a whole article I read that's in Emmy magazine this month about how like some of the greatest comedians had one great hype man who was like, listen, trust me, Larry David is your guy, said Jerry Seinfeld. Or like Chris Rock is that guy, said Eddie Murphy. Like he was naming off all these people who were gatekeepers saying, listen, don't be a bastard. Let this dude in. Trust me. And I mean, Donald Glover even talks about that in Atlanta, that he had a great white translator to get Atlanta on TV. Have y'all been lucky enough to find anyone who's been that cheerleader for you to be like, let these dudes come in? Because y'all work with some high profile people, high profile magazines and things. So who, if anyone, has been that person?
Cassandra Freeman.
I
mean, you're one of them, Cassie. I mean, I will say that, Steph, Cassie's always been there for us. She's always been pushing us. She was a person that a lot of people sort of, they're at one stage of their career. When they get to that next stage, they're busy and there's less time and there's less access to them, and that's just not even at any fault of their own. That's just how it works, right? So the stakes are higher, the paychecks are higher, the business are higher. But Cassie has never changed the way that she interacts with her friends and her confidants and the people that she inspires. And so it's people like yourself. I mean, it's people like yourself that give me and Ron, when we're going to our next level, we're still talking to the young creatives that we were talking to 5 years ago because we're trying to get them. Hey, come with us, let's go. So it's people like you and Steph, Cass. Y'all the ones that are that open door like people like us,
I can definitely speak to that because obviously, and I apologize for this, but I didn't really. If I think of the journey since I met Cassandra, literally, Cassie and I met on a beach in Haiti. Many moons ago.
At my sister-in-law's wedding.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I'll just be very frank and honest. Like in industry terms, we were nobodies. We had nothing. Just aspirations, right? And Cassie being Cassie, Cassie's been in a million of movies and famous in my eyes, right? Let me into her network. And it's because of that I won't name names, but I met certain people, then those people elevated us and we helped meet other people. And it was really because of that, really, since I met you, trajectory, boom.
No.
I mean, that's the truth. I swear to God.
The Cassie
swear to God.
It's real.
The Cassie, the Creatricity effect.
Because honestly, you didn't have to do any of that.
That is it.
You didn't know me from Adam, right? You didn't have to. I guess you felt.
And you know what?
It takes
it takes so little. It takes no effort to be like y'all. Like y'all just go talk.
To see the work, to appreciate the work, and say, run it up, get them. Work with them.
Yeah.
It's so funny too because I think that's why we created Creatricity, because the whole point of it is that if I say I like them, and this person say they like them, then I just offered everyone a gift to be like, you don't even have to overthink it. Just trust these people in the room. And over again, me and Stephanie have gotten emails and text messages from people saying, oh my God, because we came to that event, we met this person and that person, and now we're about to do this thing with them. Or we're about to do an event with them. They're letting us use this space. They're letting us do this. Yes. And I'm like, yes, but I mean, I just don't like the idea that people have to sit and wait to create. We shouldn't have to wait. It should be more like, oh my God, there's so many things to do. Which one do I want to do first? Because there's so many people in my world who are missing like one thing to get that project off the road. And so, you know, this podcast is meant to be like another loudspeaker to people to say, hey, tap into these people. You're going to be overwhelmed with how great their work is. And then tap into our new app. And the app isn't like some brand new invention. It's just meant to be your own personal Rolodex of people who me and everybody else who's cool has already said, we work with this person. They're great. You don't have to overthink it. And right now we spend so much time having to overthink how to even find this person, you know?
Yeah. Should we show a little bit of their work?
Yes, to that point, Ron and then Stephanie. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We recently were talking to this guy's a very famous key art designer in the industry, African-American dude. And he talked about how on projects, specifically African-American projects, you know, they'd like to reach out to Black creatives, but they just don't know who to reach out to. And it's like, it's sad because there are many of us, but because they're not in the typical Rolodex that they normally hit, they just don't know where to go. But so Creatricity is a wonderful platform to sort of alleviate this problem, because it shouldn't be a problem. There are too many of us who are incredibly talented for us not to be represented more often.
No, and I have too many friends who are directors who'll say, they'll come in and they'll say, okay, I need a list of people to fulfill this role. And not nobody will be of color or even female. And it's because, and we, as Stephanie and I have talked to people at huge companies like Hulu and Amazon, and they have the same issue. They have no idea how to even find that demographic. So they just use the same people over and over again. And you can't blame people. You got 2 weeks to put on an event. You're going to call the people you know who will do it, even if they're not the best. And that's the funny part. Even if they're not the best,
crazy.
It's like, well, we know them. We've already done the vendor paperwork. We'll just roll it in. And I'm like, stop. Stop. I know 10 people.
Everybody on here is amazing. He's on Creatricity.
We want to show people a little bit of your work. Stephanie, go ahead. Roll it up.
We'll bring us out. Let's see. This is just this is a long thing. Do you guys have a trailer?
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to find.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
No. Go ahead. Vinny.
I was going to say something that it's kind of crazy how true it is, Cass and Steph, about the barriers to finding POC and just underserved talent. You know, we were in a meeting with Carrie Salt and Yara Shahidi's production company's creative development director, and you would think Seven Sun Productions. You know, they've got a deal with ABC. They're
Yara Shahidi. Come on.
Yes, of course.
Grownish. Blackish.
Yes.
Yeah, you would
Great.
think, right? Yeah,
Everything. Model,
and
everything.
I mean, just prolific in every way. I mean, and so young and just killing it. But their new head of development, Quave, we were talking to him the other day, and he was like, "Man, I can't tell you how many times." And he is Ecuadorian. Like people ask me, "Hey, like, do you know a black writer in New York? Do you know a Asian writer in San Francisco?" Do you? And he's like, "I have like one, if maybe two people that I know like that." So, you know, the Creatricity platform is solving a problem that's very real, that's very now, and I believe that this problem, in order for us to get to a space of equality and equity in the media landscape, we got to figure this thing out. You know.
Yeah, and you know what? P.S. Some of my best friends are not POC, and they have the same issue. But there's been no authentic way to even meet POCs, and so that's why we throw these live events, because we're like, I like to believe if you bump into me, Vinny, any of us a few times, you're going to be like, these people are so cool. We need to work. We have somebody doing something in the next few weeks, and it's only because they met at our event, but it's someone outside of their demographic, outside of their wheelhouse, and now they get to like bring these people. But without us, it would have just been like another white on white on white event. And I don't want any of us to be.
White on white.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at any of those.
Well, you know what's so crazy is that when people aren't intentional, I mean, the same is true about black on black on black on black on an event. Like, you know, it's one thing if you're doing it on purpose to send a message, to do something. But in general, I don't think any of us want to be ghettoized in how we create. And to ghettoize something is to put everyone in one small corner. And I would go to these Oscar events, and even though these Oscar parties were for everyone, even though everyone's there, people were still off in their little niche. Like, everyone is still huddled.
We all see the Black Hollywood photo that gets taken every single year. We see it during award season,
which is cool.
It's great.
Look, I've been to some of these parties, and also that's how the party look. It's like it's such a weird energy. All the people of color in one corner, and then the white people.
It ain't a Diddy party, right?
Oh no!
I just asked you. We can move on though.
We're gonna edit that part out in the name of Jesus.
It does make me think about how sometimes you'll say POC's names in rooms with high level white executives, and they have no idea who you're talking about, and they could be some of the biggest stars of today, and they're like, who again? And it's it's really
so part of Creatricity is like bringing together cool people to like naturally have conversations. This is not based on like guilt or feeling a niche. It's just like, oh, we're bumping into in the same room together. And so I always just felt like, oh, I don't want anyone to give me a job because they have to. I want it because they just love my energy and love my work. And they didn't know me until that moment. Like, that's the cool stuff in life. And at Creatricity, we try to make sure that we curate the event for those types of rapport to happen naturally, instead of being forced down your throat, whether it's through one of our panels or just through like a fun game night networking. Y'all have been to a couple of them already, so y'all know the vibe.
They've all been incredible. We've met so many amazing people through them, so I know they'll continue, and I can't wait to be at all of them.
All of them.
All of them, please. Yes, please.
So true. Do we have, wait, can we show something? But if not, we'll edit it in.
The trailer.
Okay.
Yes, we have the trailer. Here we go. Let's see.
Entering a new world is, while she loads it up, can you, no, you still here. Can they, this is great. Never mind, I'm gonna be quiet. Oh my God, this movie is so amazing. Y'all don't even want to know. Don't make me cry about it right now. Oh, I went to the premieres of this. It was incredible. Oh my God. Wait a minute. So first of all,
it's
y'all,
like
the
that?
sound,
What?
the sound. So first of all, everybody, the sound on this is disrespectful. So we'll make sure when we load this, we put the link there so you can hear it on your
Yes.
own speakers.
Wait,
14 years.
you can link the film as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
we will.
thank you.
Yes.
We'll link the film. It's a
Yeah.
short film, but it's
Yes.
an incredible film. I saw it in New York, I guess late last year. When was that premiere, guys?
Yeah.
Late last year.
yeah.
I feel like I can't even say what it's about without giving it away. But first of all, who's the lead actor? What's his name?
Samrat Chakraborty.
Let me
Samrat
tell you, if you're an actor,
Yeah.
if you're an actor, and you want an acting class, Mother Freakers, go watch this film. If you want to know how to tell a film, this movie is like a perfect example of it checks off every box in the chakra. It
Yeah.
hits your mind and your heart and your gut. It's about the artist. It is about I swear everybody needs to see this film so we can develop more like compassion for what it even means to be an artist. And it just hit me so hard because the moment that he's facing in this as an artist about the demons that we all have when trying to create, when looking back at your past versus your future, and how do you get out of that dark hole? But can I tell you, when you see it, y'all gonna message me. You're gonna be like, these shit's about more than that. And I'm gonna be like, I know, because I have faced the bottom. And here's the funny thing: everything around you can still be beautiful. It can still look like you're a winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what gets you to come back from the edge, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Especially when you're dealing with, creatives from, in general, communities that don't have the resources that other communities have for generations now. There's so much more on the line, right? The idea of risking it all to go and to make art. That's what the film's about. And the question is when you get to that point, what do you do? And how do you move forward when the thing that you've pinned your life on fails? You know,
Oof.
I mean, you pinned your life on this thing and it failed, and it didn't work.
And it doesn't work. But also death to what it means to fail, maybe death to
what is that?
Like I've become a visual artist. I paint all the damn time, and the biggest practice it has been for me is to let go of the critic that is saying, but who's going to like this? Well, who does it look like? What will make it legendary, iconic? To hear all these voices in my head, I was like, oh, none of this is helpful. Sometimes you have to create something for yourself to get to the next thing that's for everybody else. And I'm really interested in trying to create that space for people too. Can we just go back to creating for the art of it before there was social media and we had to get 100 likes? Death to the effing like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think unfortunately society has forced the artists to go there because motherfuckers got to eat, right?
Well, capitalism.
And it's so hard to eat now that the thing that you're spending your time on has to translate to money, or else you don't eat. So it's really about how do we get past that?
Rick Rubin says, Rick Rubin, the amazing music producer, Santa Claus. I hope he comes on. Okay, this man's a genius. But Rick Rubin says, it's probably the worst thing to have all your money come from your art.
Yep.
And it's easier said than done, because that's the path we want to end up on. But there's some truth to that, because if your money comes from someplace else, then you can be empowered to make bigger choices. The problem is only 24 hours in a day, and a lot of our creative projects suck the living life out of us. How do you do another thing? But I'd hope when we gather together, we can figure out the answer. Look, I'm trying to figure out the big questions in the world, y'all. How can you create
lives
without the duress of capitalism breathing down your back? How can you create for something bigger than just a like and the money? But it's still about impact. It's still about you trying to release like your soul's gift. Because I believe we're actually all born artists, but then you get born in this vortex called Earth and America, and it's like, it's not valuable, even though it makes this country over billions and trillions of dollars. But it's not valuable, but it makes us billions and trillions of dollars. It's the biggest export of who we are as a country, but it's not valuable. It's not valuable.
We gotta keep talking about it, because people think faking the funk is the way, you know, fake it till you make it. And it's like, that ain't necessarily true. Like, if you're suffering while you're faking it, there is no point. Stop. Just stop what you're doing. Like, it's not worth it, you know?
We have a mantra that if it doesn't bring joy, we're not doing it. We're not going to be a part of it, you know?
Right. And no one knows what it's supposed to be anyway. Go ahead, Vinny.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny too, because when me and Ron started our commercial production company, we were like looking at this thing like, okay, looking at this thing as business people and thinking about if we were to try and go the traditional route of acting and creating, what does it look like? And we're like, man, just by sheer numbers, it just doesn't make any sense, you know? So we said, hey, how can we support ourselves while we go on this journey of being creatives and filmmakers and actors and performers? And that's where the commercial production company came about. And so that has been really a surprise to us, because that commercial production company is a business. But it's a business where the spiritual act of creating a business has become so interesting to us, because it's about understanding how to actually grow a business using processes and automation and using intentionality. You know, we were just in this, we just finished this thing called the New York Fast Track Business Growth Venture. And there were so many entrepreneurs like us who were out there, 1099 life, baby. You know, they were out there, and that's his own art. That's his own art. Man, everyone in that room was putting it on the line, just like performers, just like artists do every day. And they put their life on the line because they had this idea, this vision, this business. And it was just so amazing to be in a room with these people. And the classes were intense. It was like Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 to 9 p.m. for like almost 6 weeks. You know, it's a lot.
Wow.
But man, you know, and I would say like 60 people started out in the class, and by the end there was like 12 people left, right, Ron? And me and Ron were one of them. And to hear these people in this room who had like came through the fire and through the course, have a plan for growth for your business that is intentionality. And it was so cool, because the teacher, who was like this, you know, it's funny too how you can't judge nobody, because you don't know what the fuck people know. Like, that's the biggest thing about life. You can't, the minute you like put people in a box, you just lose out on so much opportunity for your self-evolution. I mean, our teacher, this lady, you know, she's just like this lady you walk by on the street, wouldn't give a second glance to, like nothing crazy. It's just like that's the way it is, you know?
The woman behind the school lunch counter.
It's straight up. You would think, I mean, like, you know.
Must respect her. She's great, but you wouldn't, you know. I was thinking tater tots, you know? I wasn't thinking this great, you know, business mind. I swear to God.
And it was so simple.
Anyway, I don't know. I know we don't have a lot of time, but we want to plug our commercial creative.
I was just going to say, can you tell?
Please
tell us the name of your company. Yes, I love it. 40 Love. Yes.
Yeah, we up 40 Love. That means, you know, we up on everybody, you know, positivity into the world with creation. I think you have the link.
Get out of here, Ron.
I love how Ron didn't trust I was going to
I know.
Ron's like, whatever. This all BS. Name of my company is, it's on my t-shirt, 40 Love.
It's called 40 Love because we want to win. All right, we want to win, and we want to win because we deserve to win, because we put the work into it, and we want to let the people that partner with us and collab with us win too. Because we're not just trying to skirt by the finish line. We're trying to be up 40 Love. And that's what we do.
And let me tell you, your roster of the people you've worked with, Emily Blunt,
insane.
I mean, what Yara Shahidi, what Netta Porter, like the people and company
is speaking, y'all.
I just pray that, first of all, people, if you only have one thing you can do, then if you just want to know what kind of work they can do, it's like a tug of war between if I want you to see their website or this movie. But you know what? I think because this is Creatricity, please, for the love of God, see this movie. We will have the link in there because
Yeah.
this movie can tell you everything you need to know about the heart,
Yeah.
the vision, the scope, the sound design,
Ooh.
the acting, the set design. What are we talking about? And I was just like, I would have loved to play that part. I'm just saying. So anyway, write me something. Write me something.
We trying to we want
I
to
just
work
wanna-
with our friends. Let's do it.
I just want to plug a couple people. I just want to plug a couple people who are part of the film. Elise Spiegel, our producer. Monty Zavard, our producer. Jonah Moran, incredible editor. Jonah Moran. Ruhi, our producer. Like, without these people, this is the family that came along with us, that grew with us to help us. Vinny wrote this. I directed it. Without them, it wouldn't have happened. So big ups to them. We love them in our hearts forever, and we can't wait to create more with them. We're gonna get Cassie in something next. We'll make it happen.
I want to produce with y'all. So
please.
Let's do it. Come on.
Please.
Yeah.
And if y'all want to find Ron and Vinny, their credentials will be below, but also join Creatricity to find more amazing people like this.
Yes.
And Ron, you just naturally answered the last thing, which was, so since Ron did it, then Vinny do it. If you want to imagine that your name was called out and you won the award of your dreams, give us what your speech would be.
I hope y'all got time.
No. If it's too long, you only got 30 seconds because I will start playing this violin.
Here we go. Okay. All right. So this speech, first of all, I just got to give a shout out to my lovely wife, Sunita Joswal, because without you, this isn't possible. Second of all, this is for my partner in crime, Ronald Austin Jr., who was my other half, and we did this together. And third of all, this is for everyone in the room that supports voices that don't get the mic. And when they get the mic, you see what happens. We light up the world because we're bringing in perspectives that are not just our own, and we're opening the door for the next generation of storytellers. So thank you. And as our higher self would tell our this self, you got this. Keep believing, keep breathing, keep creating. Thank you.
Drop mic drop. Thank you, Vinny and Ron. God bless you.
So much.
Can't wait to create with you more. And thank you for taking time out for us today on this podcast.
Can you have us back on soon, please? This was so fun. I want this in my life like every day.
Let's do it. Yay!
Don't worry, I'll be calling you up, asking you lots of questions very soon. See y'all on the next podcast, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.